Okay, good evening. I am here with my client, Miss Blah Blah Blah. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fine. We have this interview today to discuss some questions. This is our first interview dealing with your diagnosis of Crohn's disease and how we can help each other to get you eating healthier to keep you in a constant remission state, if that's
That sounds like
possible.
a plan.
Yes, it does. Now, describe for me your average normal day from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. And this allows me to see what you eat, the frequency, and the lifestyle you have.
Sometimes I have to watch what I eat. I mostly eat things that are very soft, like apples or applesauce puddings or stuff that are water based, like fruits. I try to stay away from a lot of acids as well, but I try to eat things that are light on my stomach so that way I can make sure that I can still go throughout the day without putting anything heavy on my stomach.
Okay. Earlier this month, I sent you something and you sent it back and you gave me a 3-day profile. And
Hmm.
with looking at that, I see that, and you told me the reasons. There are a lot of times that you don't feel like eating. It's important for you to have small, frequent meals, even if they're
Right.
not the telltale meals, because there's no Crohn's diet. However, we'll find out what you can tolerate. And I know it sounds almost like guinea pigging, but every person is different who's diagnosed with it. So we have to find out your tolerances and intolerances. Some of them you probably already know. So even if it's just a smoothie with soy milk, because I know we had talked earlier, and you have a possible lactate or lactose
Yes, ma'am.
intolerance. So, and then the frequency, there's no set time for breakfast, lunch, dinner, but it would be nice if you could have breakfast. That's really the most important meal of the day. A snack, I
Hmm.
would say try to eat every 3 to 4 hours. If you do like your veggies or your apples, then you
Hmm.
can go from that. And I'm going to later on send you a suggested 5-day menu with the
Oh, I would
nutrient
like that.
balance. Yeah, I'll send you that, and then we can go through it and we can move forward from there. Um, the other questions I have, they're pretty basic, and if you have any questions of me in between, feel free to ask, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You can just call me Ivy.
Okay.
Are you currently on any medications prescribed over the counter or natural homeopathic? And this will allow me to know if they're utilizing other forms of treatment other than prescription.
Do you mean like, am I prescribed anything by a doctor specifically that I'm taking that caters to my Crohn's or anything?
Yes, and are you doing any over the counter or homeopathic or something, a family member may have suggested to help your when you have a flare up or your stomach is irritated?
Well, I know that a lot of my doctors just tell me just to go straight for the liquid diet,
Mm-hmm.
mainly because I've learned that sometimes I overeat. Just because I'm hungry, that doesn't mean that I have to eat so much. I have
Right,
a lot of trouble with portions because I believe that when we want to eat, we want to eat everything that we can because we're hungry.
right.
But that's one of my biggest issues is portion control.
Um, I think I sent it to you. If not, before we finish this interview, I'll make sure that I send you the information and the link because I logged you in and I got you situated with a choose my plate. And
Okay.
based on your weight and age, and it gives you the portion size. Also, they have at Walmart. I forgot the name of it. It is a usually like as seen as on TV, like when you're walking by the registers. There is a like Tupperware set that shows you meat, veggies, sweets, stuff like that, and it's the perfect portion size. They also have
Right.
a plate that looks similar to the plate that's on the actual site, and it tells you the exact amount, because we as Americans usually don't utilize the correct size plate. We have those large 16 to 18-inch plates when we should be
Right.
actually utilizing more of a smaller size, say a 6 to 8 inch plate. And we'll look at that and think that must be a kiddie plate. But in
Right.
actuality, it's an adult
Mhm.
plate. And we have been somewhat trained to eat on a larger scale. It's not what we require, though. But
Okay.
as far as the medication, I know we had talked before, and you are on Humira, right?
Yes, ma'am. I take that every 2 weeks.
Okay. Is there any other medication that you're on for your Crohn's disease?
There is one that does cater to it. They did put me on Depo-Provera to
Mm-hmm.
prevent me from having any type of pains associated with my dysmenorrhea.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And those are like the only two that I'm on right now.
Any over the counter or herbal things that you utilize for your stomach?
I do take probiotics.
Okay. Do you know what they're for?
Therefore, actually, I believe, therefore, keeping the good bacteria in my stomach, like replacing the bad, and if that makes any sense, like
Oh,
replacing the
yeah,
bad bacteria
exactly.
with good bacteria in my
That's
stomach.
right. Okay, good. I'm glad you're taking those. That was one of my questions. Okay. Um, are you allergic to anything, or do you have any intolerances?
For some reason, I know with my lactate, it's been kind of difficult with like cheeses and milks and stuff, so I kind of stay away from them.
Okay.
As well as erythromycin. I get that from my mother.
Okay. You do know they do have veggie cheese. It is delicious. I've tried it. And they
Oh,
do,
really?
yes, and they do have soy-based yogurts. And also, if all else fails, if you just gotta have some ice cream or something, they do have the lactate tablets, and
Okay.
they have lactate milk, and you might can try a small, like a half a cup of that, and see if that's okay. But if not, staying on the soy based, and if you're not allergic to nuts, the nuts milks are good, like the almond or the cashew,
May I
something
ask
of
a
that.
question about soy?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard so many bad things about like a lot of intake of soy for women. Like, is that a bad thing, or what is soy a
Um,
better thing for women to intake rather than
Well, it's a
lactate?
controversial subject, and for now, the all of the information points that it is very good for women of older age, seeing as though you're not quite of menopausal age. It should, it's not. It just might not benefit you as much, or it may have something to do with the cycles. No one really has
Right.
concrete information on that. However, for people of menopausal age, soy is supposed to be like a more natural derivative to help curve the hot flashes and all the symptoms.
Okay.
Premenopausal, I can get that information and look it up, and then the next time we talk, that we can get together and see how that would work for you, and see if is it indicated for anything dealing with Crohn's. But as of now, I don't think so. I think it's one of the safe ones, but I'll definitely check and let you know.
Thank you.
No problem. When you eat, we already discussed that. So that you already my question was, when you eat, how often do you eat, and how much are you serving? So let me reiterate, and you just correct me if I'm wrong. You said that you don't eat as often as you do, but when you do, you're really hungry and you tend to eat a lot or gorge, and that's what makes it a little bit troublesome for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's exactly how it goes.
Okay,
Exactly.
so in order to fix that, what we'll do, just say for now, you can, until we find out what works for you, use like a half a cup of whatever you're eating. Like if it's rice, a half a cup of rice, a half a cup of
Mhm.
the vegetables. If you have meat, it shouldn't be bigger than the palm of your hand.
Okay.
I would stay away from steaks, red meats, pork. I would predominantly do chicken and seafood if you're not allergic to seafood. There are some tofu products that are very good. I had some stir fried tofu and I thought it was really, really good. So those are some things, and I have some tidbits and some snack ideals that I can send to you as well.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, just a couple of more questions. When were you diagnosed with Crohn's?
October the 18th, 2011.
Okay. Are you able to describe your bowel habits?
My bowel habits, and I'm just going to be completely real. My bowel habits strictly cater to me and how my intake is with my, I guess it's this glycerin thing. They call it Miralax.
Okay.
I just have to constantly have something in my system to help soften my stool.
Okay.
And I believe it has a lot to do with me. And I hate naked water, but dehydration, I believe, is of the essence. Because if you take those stool softeners and you don't take any water,
That's right. You'll
it
have
makes your
massive
stomach
cramping.
hurt.
Yeah,
So
and it'll also
I believe
bulk.
that
Right.
has a lot to do with it as
It
well.
bulks up your stool as well. The other thing that you can do is you can add a little. They have Propel packets you can add to the water. You can start off with the Propel. Those don't have calories. You can do the what is it, Life Water. Sobe has a water that's no calories. There's a Asian apple pear drink that is fabulous, and a Caribbean coconut, and it's about 40-50 calories if you're watching your calorie intake. But just
Okay.
keep the fluid intake going, because you do not want to get dehydrated, because during flares, you know as well, way more than I do, you can have really bad diarrhea, and that depletes you with water excessively, all of your
Right,
internal
right. I
fluids.
understand.
When you're experiencing flares, are they mostly stress or diet related?
Sometimes they're mostly stress related.
Okay. And are we working on anything to curb our stressors?
I'm trying to learn how to meditate
Mm-hmm.
with my busy lifestyle. It's basically on me. It's something that I have to really put my time out and to really focus on myself. So
Right.
it's really going to be up to me to take
Right.
that time out to do that.
And you take your time and do that. There's always try to make even a couple of seconds for yourself just to be you. And I know you're newly married, but you have that time. Just take a breather, and we can try to figure out some things you like to do. And if you focus on another hobby or get something to do, you like to dance, I would say put on some leotards and ties and just be creative. I like to crochet and bake stuff, so I cook when I get a little stressed, or I make something so I enjoy it. So at the end of it, you have done something that you feel good about. So I'm not a psychologist, but I know that when you do activities that you enjoy, it takes your mind off of other things.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Right. So we're going to get together and try to work on the diet related and maybe even the stress related, so you could try to take care of that yourself. Have you ever kept a food diary?
I used to, but I fell off on it. I need to get better with that though.
Okay. And I would keep one just in case when you go to see your your GI doctor, because I was messing up that gastrointestinal, excuse me, that you'll have something that he could say, well, what are you consuming? You'll have that there instead of trying to think of it, because sometimes when you're in pain, you can't think of nothing but the pain. So you'll have that to keep with you. Do you have any issues with drinking fluids? besides the.
Sometimes I can't drink like sodas. I never could drink soda. It
Well,
hurts my
yeah,
stomach.
carbonated water is not really good for you, and I would curb that as much as possible. Do you consume alcohol?